Okay, the main antagonist of this expansion. Who is the big bad guy of World of Warcraft Dragonflight? Is it the Jadaran? It's probably not this guy. So, there was an interview with Warcraft Radio. Steve Denuser talked a bit about the antagonists who he may fight, saying that the history that was presented in Chronicle has huge gaps. We've got a video diving into some of this coming out Monday or Tuesday. But, of course, there's... I'll just do the short version.
Yeah.
Your TLDR is after all of the Dawn of the Aspects book stuff. What then happens is, the dragons end up kind of joining Team Titan. There's a new bit of lore, something we didn't previously know, that there are these primal dragons who basically turned back to the elements to infuse themselves with their strength.
Yeah.
Right? So these are the leaders of this primalist movement who really, they just want to go back to basics. They just like the elements. And in a way, if they feel an affinity with the elements, you could also say they might be a bit pissed at Azeroth because she sucked up the element of spirit, and that is what has caused the elements in Azeroth to be all crazy. So we fight these 4 primal incarnates that are going to be released into the world. Now, there's certainly more to talk about here regarding the enemy. Also, tell you what...
Yep.
Let's get the old school cosmology chart.
Oh no, not this again. Put it away. No. Why are you doing this to us? We thought we left this behind.
So, I wonder, Galakron?
Yeah.
Is...
the element of decay, yeah.
Galakron?
Oh yeah, there's the element of decay that doesn't exist anywhere in elemental stuff.
So that's Galakron. That's one of the prime incarnates, as is that. I think as is water, and then spirit was slurped up by Azeroth.
Yeah, it's the 4 that are missing.
Just saying, there could be something there. Now, for other things, the Bronze Dragonflight, them having a storyline was teased, and then I was thinking about this it's in the lore video recorded earlier. We have a sort of funny situation. Who turned Nozdormu?
Nozdormu.
Nozdormu.
Yes.
Who turned
Nozdormu.
Nozdormu. Into Morozond. Who made him go mad?
Was that not... Yeah, so the point was that he was shown his own death when he picked up the powers of time for Amantul, basically going, don't get ahead of yourself, you're going to die, motherfucker. But everything's leaning towards the old gods.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if there's ever hard confirmation, but everything leans towards old gods. I don't know. I feel like that was kind of vaguely hard confirmed by the whole fucking end time thing and the Twilight cult stuff and all that.
One beer and he's pissed. No, I'm just fucking really dyslexic.
Yeah. No, so I'm fairly sure that was the old gods whispered to him, drove him crazy around his own death.
Yep.
And that's it.
No.
Yep.
What's the current status of the old gods?
They are all slumbering. And yeah, they're all slumbering because we can't kill them for real. We can sort of kill them, but we can't fully kill them. And also, Rathion has N'Zoth in a dagger, allegedly.
Some people think that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I forgot. That reminds me. I forgot the other part of my bit about the World Tree. Oh. Ian was the person who said Cthulhu was mathematically impossible, and he's the one who said the splinter. So he's the one. So Cthulhu will corrupt the World Tree that's grown in Silphus. Anyway, back to your point.
100%.
Yeah. It was the old gods. Yogg's dead. Cthulhu is dead. Ishard's dead as fuck. And N'Zoth is in Rathion's dagger.
Yeah, so I'm just saying there's some questions with him.
Yeah.
He gets corrupted by these old gods who we've all killed.
Yeah.
In a way where I don't think they're canonically able to really whisper us and do stuff like that too much. Because they're kind of like, they have to wait out their spawn timer before they can come back, basically.
Yeah. Also, Xal'atath is technically an old god and is just walking about, yeah.
So, look, that's my point. There could be something going on there. We know there's some Bronze Dragonish stuff. They have the breadcrumb set up in Deaths of Chromie. So I think there's a few ways it could go for who the main enemy of this expansion is. One direction is actually getting Galakron back. or some Galacron-ish stuff.
Yeah.
But that would very much involve them continuing this on as their prime storyline, and I have a feeling they won't. Another one, if we think about who is an inherent villain in the Dragons, it's Morozond.
Morozond's the only actual dragon villain that we know of, which means it's definitely Morozond will be the villain of the Bronze stuff. Maybe not directly, but the Infinite will be the villain. And then there you go. And then there's I'm trying to think what else. There's not really much else outside of what they've instigated, which means we could have any form of elemental kind of thing going on. But I can't remember the elements, because I mean, elements, you're going to have a shamany thing. But every time it's been elementals, it's boiled down to the old gods, largely speaking.
Yeah. Sanders, we did kill Morozond, but that was like
you killed future. Yeah, we killed future
Morozond.
We have our Nosdormu will eventually become Morozond. Yeah. Just when that happens, we don't know.
Also, time is confusing. And I guess another thing, like, so these primalist dragons, they're currently imprisoned, and the aspects imprison them. The only thing I guess I could think of is Ulduar was a prison with nasties in it. There tends to be stuff going on in and around under Titan complexes. So is there anything going on with the Dragon Isles? What are they built atop of? They evidently had a freakish ability to disappear, because the current canon, it's not that, like, Pandaria didn't move.
Yeah.
Pandaria just got veiled up in mist.
Shao covered it in mist, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is to do with the Shah of Pride. Oh yeah, old god covered that in, yeah.
But would you imagine, let's just say you were a dragon, you know of Pandaria.
Yeah.
Covered in mist. You could still fly there.
That depends on whether or not what the magical nature of the mist is. Because it was very much, is a dragon strong enough to not be killed by these magics or not be thrown off by the storms and stuff? Arguable, but yeah.
So, well, I guess there's just a bit of me that's like wondering what fundamentally is up with the Dragon Isles, considering it disappeared in such a way that the dragons, like, they flew away from it. They know its geographical location. And then we see these, the clouds kind of come in, but it's almost like it gets slooped away into its own little pocket dimension for a bit.
That's probably how they would, like, that's the cleanest way to explain it not being, like, just vaguely accessible, or it not being, like, visible on, like, a world map or from someone flying high. The quickest way is to go, magical shroud, which kind of adds a layer of why was it shrouded away, given there's a big Titan engine that's to do with elementals.
Oh, I think I know.
All that stuff, yeah.
It's kind of like came up when I was thinking about some video stuff, but so Deathwing, like, fucking obliterates the blue flight.
Yeah. For the Nexus.
In the War of the Ancients.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of all scattered about. Now, in this cinematic, because this cinematic is kind of happening, like, I think as the Well of Eternity is going crazy and blowing up, but after Deathwing has done the betrayal, maybe, because, like, it starts with Alex Strasser saying the world is sundered, and then we see the dragons leave. Now, or like whatever the timing is, basically, they are going to know the Deathwing is at large and very dangerous, but they also know they have to go and leave the Dragon Isles to help protect the world.
Yeah.
But that, especially because their strength had been quite severely hit during the War of the Ancients, maybe they know the Dragon Isles are, like, unprotected. And they can't help Azeroth and protect their home at the same time. Yeah. And maybe if Deathwing gets his hands on whatever the fuck is in the Isles, it could be super dangerous. As an example, whatever he's got in the Isles is clearly have to make the Drakthir, which is like a big army. So do you want Deathwing to just return home, take the whole thing over, and just start, Isengarding out a bunch of Drakthir to go and take over the world? They clearly wouldn't want that to happen. So maybe that's why it gets sealed off. Hard to say. Maybe. That's totally speculation.
Yeah, that's a thing where you could very much have... Well, that's awkward. Yeah, because you could have the legacy of Deathwing be a big part of it, because I think that's so important to all the characterization of the aspect, because the aspects kind of were, that's the reason they ended the Age of Dragons in the first place, was because they were kind of like, our legacy is that Deathwing was a bastard. Oh shit. And they didn't really have much else to go for there, and they needed to stop that. So that, like, tied their entire storyline in a loop. So if we're going to reopen that, then we'd look closer at the legacy of Deathwing. Probably try to get, like, I think that's why the Drakthir are, like, a positive thing as well, where I think the Drakthir are like, oh no, the Neltharion made these because he was fucking cool back in the day.
Yeah.
He was cool. They had all the powers of all the aspects. They weren't super powerful. They were just like test creations, but they're pretty, they're as strong as like player characters. So you're like, that's pretty sweet actually. So probably a positive look at like Notharion's legacy. And then I imagine just opening up new cans of worms with whatever's down there. I'm assuming not old gods, just because it would feel weird to be like, oh, Deathwing was old gods. Oh, the dragons have only fought against old gods. I feel like them opening this new can of worms of that entire era where the old gods were quite firmly asleep, outside of N'Zoth being able to whisper a little bit, then everything else that happened in the meantime is just so much uncharted territory. And I think that's a case where, so the developers definitely, especially like the creative team, the lower team and stuff, they definitely want to make like their own unique stuff and not feel like completely bottled in by what's there before. And I feel like a lot of that is like, they tried that with Shadowlands, which is we're going to forge our new like forward timeline stuff and bring all these other elements in. Like, wow, we want to return to Azeroth, but how do we return to Azeroth without making a load of the same shit over and over again? And it's just, oh, well, here's a big blank time and timeline where we can literally create our completely unique stories. Yeah. And this is how they've talked about it as well, where they're like, no, we want to make unique stuff. This is a big unspoken timeline that's like, we don't know what happened here. And they're like, well, that's perfect time for them to actually feel freely creative. And also, maybe they'll take Return to Azeroth too literally and just talk about Azeroth's birth and history and stuff like that, maybe.
I guess it would be some of the Awakening story. What I like is at least they are framing this expansion of the lore and that filling in the gaps. They're framing that in very classic Warcraft terms, even down to the art style of the Titan architecture and Watchers.
Yeah.